Hey everybody, welcome to another Tuesday night bull ring. I got a couple of guests here, or got a couple of other commenters here, or guest panel, whatever. Anyway, y'all seen him before, Warsaw. He's been out in the audience a lot, and been in a couple of the chats. And we got Daniel, God is my judge. And I'm going to let them do an intro right quick. Looks like the people are starting to come in, and then we'll get started. I'll start with you, Daniel, if you don't mind.
Oh, hey, thanks, TR and Warsaw. Looking forward to talking to you tonight. I don't think I've talked to you live before, just on the side chat. PC Vborg, hi, hey Fuzz, and I don't know who's Southern Style. Anybody know him? New guy, okay. Oh, hey, am I stealing your thunder? PC Bullet Empire, and let's. Oh, I'm just going to stop at the diarrhea of the mouth there. Thanks, TR.
Yeah, they're starting to come in. And Warsaw, would you like to do an intro?
Hey guys, of course you know me, I'm Warsaw Patriot. Yeah, thanks for having me on, TR. I'm definitely interested in just having a good time and just talking like brothers, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're shooting the bull. We'll try to cover some subjects. We can get serious or not serious or both. Usually what we do is both. So, there's somebody I need to send. Hey, do you want a link, Luke? I'll send you a link. I knew there was somebody else forgetting. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not sure where to start. Okay, what little info I have of the deal being made, of course, the Democrats are trying their best to not let Trump have a win. So America be damned. They're not going to do the wall funding, even though they've done 60 billion, not just a few years ago for the wall. They can only do 1.3 billion now because it's Trump. And what he should do, I'm not sure. Should he declare a national emergency? Should he just veto it, shut the government down? What do you guys think?
Oh, I was looking at. I mean, I read an article on that, and that's only going to fund a 55 miles of wall. I mean, really? That's a joke. That's just an insult. If he accepts that, he, he's just gonna roll over and play dead. He should probably, in my opinion, he should declare a national emergency.
Let's see. For my view, I'd say, in my perspective, I think he needs to declare, state emergency. Another shutdown is just going to ruin millions of people's lives. Especially a government employee, they can't even get their own paychecks and to support their families, especially their housing. So that's what I would do.
And one other thing here that I think, I gotta see who put this video up here. Oh, Joe Primal did this. The Italians went and had this parade, and they had this float. I really think that Trump should go ahead and buy this thing and integrate it into the wall, or just keep it mobile and put it on the exit, the entrance and exit to Congress, or just take it to the Hillary Clinton compound or Obama's, but just keep it moving around. I think I'd just make it ballistic.
Yeah, I seen that story. It was in Italy. He is a hero to them, and that is actually a. It's not that they made up that character for Trump. If from what I read, that is like an ancient hero or whatever. They just put Trump's face on it. There's some, I would say, mythology or whatever to that character, but it's like a hero, you know.
I could just see them just their heads exploding if he would buy that, get that thing over here, and just have it at the Trump rallies. That would be crazy. So we got a new guy sitting over here.
Yeah, we got Luke. Whenever you want to come in, Luke, you can do an intro if you'd like.
Is my microphone working? Is it? No. Well, very good. Well, Dave, thanks for having me on. That's just fantastic. Good to see you. I just all of a sudden it dawned on me. I said, "Oh man!" I said, "TR's probably having a live show. I should go check that out." And well, anyway, so thanks very much. I have no really intro. Certainly, I'm just new to YouTube, so I'm just kind of checking it out, feeling it out. So thanks for the experience. It's fabulous.
Well, thanks for being on, Luke. I always appreciate you being on. I always appreciate just being on chat with you. To be honest, when me and you go back a few years. So, anyway, I'm not a. But on the subject of Trump, should he declare a national emergency, or should he just take the deal and push for more money next year? I'm thinking this is just my feelers on Facebook and on YouTube and even on talk radio and what have you. The feeling I'm getting, the majority of who I'm seeing, I feel like it would be a loss and a win for Pelosi and the Democrats if he takes the deal and tries for more money next year. Even though if he declares a national emergency and diverts some funding from national emergencies to this, they'll fight it, they'll appeal it, and blah, blah, blah. And I agree, Warsaw. I'm not sure that shutting the government down again would be the best course. I'm not an expert. I think he has the constitutional authority to declare a national emergency. He could sign the bill, declare a national emergency, and divert funds from the national emergency funding, whatever, and apply it toward building the wall, because I think it is a national emergency. I mean, hell, it's like 12,000, another caravan for 12,000 coming this way now. And now even the national news, well, I won't say national, but anyhow, I've heard on the news that there's actually groups of 5,000 to 10,000 people overseas who are starting to get together to try to get to Mexico to come over in waves of 5,000 to 10,000 at a time. Because it's like, okay, well, this is the way it is. As long as you make it across, they can't turn you back. So I think it is a national emergency. And I think that, unfortunately, I think that's the best way to go. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I think we're painted into a corner, and that's the best option. Because I do agree. I don't think shutting the government down again would be the best course of action.
Okay, Canadian opinion, certainly, ladies and gentlemen, so I apologize if I offend anyone in that sense. Here's a couple of questions. So I say to myself, well, that's not a question, it's more of a comment, I guess, or an observation of certainly your president, and that is that I don't think necessarily that Trump is just going to say, oh, well, I lost this. You know, it was a running platform that he took when to get into office to begin with. To me, he doesn't seem like certainly the type that would say, ladies and gentlemen, it's a loss. You know, hey, what do you do? You know, we move on. So having said that, you know, we'll go to the question, is it in fact a national emergency? You know, certainly they can paint that picture, and maybe that is in fact those people that are going to get ready to come over. It probably always has been a national emergency, quite frankly. Having said that, is there other options? We've talked about government shutdowns to put pressure on. We've talked about the fact of stating it's a national emergency and going into a national emergency fund sidestep briefly, the weather seems to be getting worse and worse with more natural disasters. Should we drain that fund right now, considering what could be on the forefront? And then going back over again to the idea that we'll consider a national emergency, drain the fund, taxpayer money, fund me now, pay me later. It doesn't really matter either way. Whatever his decision is going to be in that sense, it's that theory, pay me now or pay me later. You're going to pay for that wall if that's what he wants. So if a wall is going up, the people are going to pay for it. Pay now, pay later. Doesn't matter how you look at it. The other aspect is if it doesn't go up, then what is his options? He could probably do something else, maybe not. And this is what I put forth to conclude what I'm talking about, is could he get the National Guard, basically? Is there funding for that on a rotating shift? You know what I mean? To actually have the National Guard flood the border and say, no problem, then this is what we're going to do. Or what they've already done in the past, certainly, and certainly a couple presidents before, I believe, is that they've just sent the military to the border. They said, well, any active military right now that is the United States and you're not doing something that's productive, in a sense, you're going to the border. And they'll just say, no problem, we'll do it another way, right? And we'll light that fucking border up. That's what I have to say about that.
I agree with that. I'm ex-military. I would have no problem if I was active duty and I was in. It would suck to a certain degree because that's kind of your downtime. I mean, it's training, but yeah, send the National Guard, send the damn military, and make a human wall.
Right.
But one thing they do need to change, and this would help a lot. There's a lot of things they need to change. One thing they need to change is the fact that the way the law has been changed to where they cannot turn people away. All Border Control can do now, or border agents, is when they cross the border, process them, give them a court date, and then let them go. If they don't find out, if they do a little background and they don't find out that they're a criminal that's already been here or whatever, okay, here's your court date in 2 months. Bye. They need to stop that. I think we should be able to turn away anybody at our border. Every other country in the world does it, for the most part, other than Europe taking in the influx that they are now, which now they're paying the price for. But we should be able to turn people away from the borders. Like, okay, you want to come in, you got to go through the port and port of entry, which is not necessarily ocean for anybody who don't know. And you have to process, you have to apply. And if you don't meet our regulations or standards, bye, turn your ass around and go back the other way.
Mindy out there, she brings out another point. Stop giving all this money away to the illegals. I mean, we're not taking care of our people that are born here, that are citizens, that have paid into the programs. Can't get nothing. But there it is.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I go back to this. Somebody can certainly correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have the data up in front of me. I'm just putting it as a conversation piece. What about the idea, though, that a lot of these immigrants are coming in and they're doing jobs that either can't be done by the people who are here, because there's certainly some of the people that we have to take care of because they're in that situation, whatever it is, near end of life or whatever the case is. People with disabilities, even our veterans coming back home. They've invested in that veteran, certainly go over and invest in something else to safeguard the future of America, whether that's be trade or a foothold in for geopolitical means, or there's just an absolute defense mechanism there where they got to be spread out. But nevertheless, they don't necessarily take care of them when they get back home because they don't seem to have the funding, or it's mismanaged. And again, like you just said, certainly you're bringing in all these new people and funding them. But we have to make sure that if you're coming to this country, what we do in Canada, I shouldn't even say that. Okay, I take that back. But maybe what should be ideal is that what TR is saying, certainly, you come through a port of entry so that we know that you're safe to be in our country. You're not bringing any disease that's going to spread like fucking wildfire, like Ebola, for instance. You know what I mean? And and to make sure that we understand, hey, you're going to be a citizen here. You're there on a trial temporary basis. This is our plan for that. You don't get to get a tax return for 10 years, and then we'll sponsor you into the country. You're expected within 2 years to have this, and this in place. You know what I mean? And there's the resources to make that happen, and it's done in an organized fashion, so that you don't have organized crime and everything else taking a foothold and so on. Is that even possible? Fuck to find out. I mean, I don't even know if that's possible. Maybe a pipe dream, but it has to be through a port of entry for just those reasons alone. And then there, if we actually need those people because of the profession they have, the skill set that they have, or whichever, then those people are attractive and they get fast tracked through the system when we put those people where we need them. But I also asked the question, is America, let's just say, is America open enough to have that much immigrants? Or what you're saying, certainly, we can't take what care we have now. We need to just close off things. We need to like very select few people in, and that's very unfortunate. We're sad about that. And there's a humanitarian aspect, and I get that. But the same instance, it's just like in a smaller micro or macro look at it, where you look at it and you go, well, my home, if we were in a disaster, right? And if Trump is saying that what we have is a catastrophe waiting to happen, then let's seal off that fucking border. Let's take care of our own. Let's work on our own infrastructure and make us strong again. Make America great again, so that we can be a little bit more organized, letting people in if we need to on a humanitarian situation. But if it's my home and we're in that crisis, am I letting my next door neighbor in and the neighbor down the road to deal with what I can provide in America, in my home? I don't let those families in, unfortunately. Even though it's a humanitarian situation, I can't. I kill my own family. And so when I look at it on a bigger scale, maybe it doesn't fit as well, but it's kind of how I envision it. Sort of. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, if we're not able to take care of our own, why are we taking in so many people? And we got somebody out there on the outside, bald and curious. I mean, he's an immigrant from Slovakia. I know I probably butchered that. Slovakia, I think that's how you say it. It's something like that.
It's pronounced Grand Power.
Yeah, Grand Power. There you go. That's the other saying for it. But you know, by letting in illegals, I mean, technically we let in between 1 and 1.5 million people legally a year in America. It's not that we're against immigration. It's not that Trump's against immigration. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but you don't get to jump in line just because the border's right there. You got people from overseas. You got like the Crazy Scotsman. You got Bald and Curious. You got people from India. Every country in the world trying to immigrate here. You don't get to jump in line. That's the bottom line. We'll let in anybody, any race, any color, any creed, sex, whatever, but you got to get in line. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Otherwise, you don't have a country.
Yeah, this open border stuff right now that we've got, I'm not going to say that there's somebody in the side chat right now that might have made a video about New Year's. And, you know, a lot of people on New Year's growing up, they'd shoot guns in the air. Yeah, take their shotgun, crack off about 5 rounds. But they go out there and they're listening to fully automatic weapons fire, you know, from this place over here that's 2 miles away. Then it's answered by the one on the east side, and then the west side, and it's going on where they're just showing off. Yeah.
But anyway, bottom line, I don't know what Trump needs to do. I've seen a lot of people comment that if he caves in, it'll hurt his chances in 2020. There may be some truth to that. But I do think he needs to stand strong and at worst declare a national emergency. He's hinted that there's some other option for him. But he needs to try. Even if they shoot it down, he has to go through the court system, and I think he'll fast track it to the Supreme Court. Myself, that's just my personal opinion. That's just a guess, a gut feeling. You know, some night district. shoots it down, I'm thinking he'll fast track to the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens. But I think he has to try, period. Even if he's not successful, he has to go through with it, period. And as long as he does that, I don't think he'll lose any of his voter base. I think he's actually gained a voter base because there's a lot of people that didn't want to vote for him when he got elected that have now been turned. I think, and maybe it's a pipe dream, maybe I'm looking at the wrong things, I don't know. I think there'll be a landslide. Actually, he had a landslide when he beat Hillary. I think it'll be more of a landslide next election, unless something goes wrong.
Agreed. It needs to come down to a showdown. Go ahead, Warsaw.
I agree. Now, as far as Trump, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the guy for what he's doing. He's actually fixed our structure with our finances and all that. The only thing I have problems with is him saying, you know, one of his speeches was, take the guns away, due process later. But the other issue I have also is that Trump's nominee, of Attorney General William Bill Barr, is trying to be selected as Attorney General again because this guy was actually the man held responsible for the deaths of Ruby Ridge. So this guy's promoting more red flag laws, and also we don't want to have a repeat of something like that of Ruby Ridge. So I don't see red flags here in front of me if you don't.
Yeah, I didn't say he was perfect, and I didn't say he was Superman.
Yeah.
I will say this, and anybody can go look it up. More guns have been outlawed by Republicans than Democrats. So they're not always perfect. Even Bush Sr., I think it's Bush Sr. or Reagan, outlawed more guns than Clinton. So. So I'm not saying Republicans are perfect and they don't do bad things for us. They play the game a little too much, and they give in way too much.
Not even supposed to be in that big. Oh. Fine.
Okay, guys, keep it down over there. We're trying to have a conversation here. My God.
Laying down the law.
Gotta lay down the law. Crazy. Anyways, based on the fact of whether it's a smart move or not, whatever he does, certainly for the next election, I always find that very curious. Whether it's Canadian elections, anywhere for that matter, what exactly is happening behind the scenes, right? So we talk about Republicans that, it doesn't really matter who's banning guns or doing something that bans a gun or even a component of a gun. The fact of the matter is that there seems to be a political drive, and it's usually from the people, right? Squeaky, wheel gets the oil kind of thing. And it seems what's driving the people at time. If you can keep the people in a particular direction, or if they're already that momentum is already carrying them in that direction of thinking on a particular subject, if you don't maintain that, you'll certainly lose them. And you seem to, doesn't matter which side is in, or has a majority, that always seems to be the case. They don't always stay in. So what happens? The majority got them there, so to speak, right, in the States, but they don't stay there. So what? It's like a fucking tennis game. This is what I hate about a right and a left, because it just doesn't seem to fucking matter. Because, I mean, if you look at the two industries that me and, TR are in, for instance, I'm going to vote the left this time because it's going to give my industry a boost. And they're saying it, and it's looking promising. And right now, oh my God, I need it. Coal miners, right? Trump. And then you've got certainly TR's industry, who certainly, if he goes the other direction, he's going to get the boost. And I can't fault him for that. And then one of us gets in, and one of us gets fucked. That's it. And it seems to be like that all the time. So I try not to get caught up in that so much up here. I get you guys are really devout, fucking left or right, that's it. The majority of the folks out here, we understand where we sit, for the most part. Myself included, even though I'm not American. But I don't know. It's like you can't please everybody. And I hate to think that Trump would say, okay, we're going to see a national emergency, because I think this is right up there with fucking 9/11, right? It has the potential to go that way, but it may be on a different scale or a different way of actually killing thousands of fucking Americans, let's just say. And maybe it already has, and that's the platform he's certainly speaking from, that it's already gone that way. It's already killed thousands of Americans, you know what I mean? Immigrants being able to just come in as they please. And what if they do get in a contagion, certainly, that we just are not prepared for here? One slips in. That shit has a tendency to, you know, it can go like wildfire. You know, whether it's Ebola, you know, or H1N1, which we had certainly up here in Canada. So, bad stuff, you know? So, I don't know.
Well, most of the time they come up with a compromise and we lose. The difference is in my history of being here and semi-paying attention to what's going on in politics is I like to think, and maybe I hadn't seen everything, I think we lose less when Republicans are somewhat in control. So, yes, I understand the right-left paradigm. I know the Republicans are just as bad as Democrats in a lot of things, but I think overall, just like Daniel said, I think we were live. I'm not sure if we was because we were talking before this started, that the left is trying to drive us off a cliff. The right is taking a trail there. You know, so it's a slower, and me and him, I think we're off air, but I was like, yeah, at least with that slow trail, you at least feel like you got a chance to steer it in the right direction. But when you're just flat out 100 miles an hour going toward a cliff, there's like no fucking escape. You know, we're going off the cliff. At least a slow trail is like, well, maybe we can lean it the right way. You know?
Could you just imagine if Hillary would have gotten in office? Where would we be right now?
Be at war with Iran, guaranteed. I'm almost sure of that. Right?
The economy would be shit. The unemployment would be out the ass. I mean, we would just be in so much trouble. I can't even imagine how bad it'd be. Maybe we should have went that way. Maybe we should have, and so we could hit the reset button. But yeah, I think we're ready for that.
I don't think that's a good idea. That woman, I hate to tell you, but she had some backstage war theories that she wanted to do. She wanted to have some war tactics with Russia. All right, let's put it that way.
Well, the bad thing is it could have got so bad that they would have got the end goal of a one world government, basically, a one world committee kind of controlling things, because we would have went so fucking wrong, so bad. There have been so much human loss and so much famine in the world. That's what they want. That's what they want. And that's why Republicans too kind of still scare me, because they want war. They're war hungry too. And all-out world war, that ends up being the end game, and that's the best way to get there is, nuclear holocaust, or it don't even have to be nuclear. It could just be world war, and the whole fucking world just goes to shit financially, everything, and then they get to get their hands in there. I know it sounds conspiracy, but I mean, all you gotta do is look at history and look at what's going on. Look at what's happened in the past. You know, I mean, they've been fighting for this for a long, long time.
Well, it's already happening. Like you said, we've talked about it before in China, right, where they've got basically this credit system rocking and rolling. It's only a matter of time before they spread that across everywhere. How much time, I don't know. And we got to understand that things don't happen like from 1920, you know what I mean, 1930. These things happened, you know what I mean, which wasn't very significant. But you take, 2000 to 2020, holy shit, you know what I mean? What significance has happened? So what's going to happen in the next 20 years? Man, it's going to move lightning fast, first and foremost. But that's if AI don't kill us, if you believe in conspiracy on that, which seems probable to me. So I don't know. Just be thankful Hillary wasn't in. None of us would have this conversation, because someone would be able to say that they're talking and that hurts my feelings, so that would have been the end of it. YouTube.
Oh, they're doing that to us now.
Yeah, slower rate, I'm hoping. But you're right.
Kind of, you know, I don't know if I don't know what the ending is. But I'm kind of torn. What I was saying earlier is I kind of wish it would went ahead and happened. So there's enough of us with the guts and gall to stand up and do something. Because I'm really worried about if this prolongs another 20 years to the point of no return. I don't know how to say it without sounding too bad, but I would rather a reset happen now when there's enough people that still can move around enough to fight back and rebuild, because I just don't have a lot of confidence in the generations coming up.
You nailed it right on the head, because what they're being taught in schools right now is the left agenda and all these liberal teachers. And that this is what you're going to have coming out of high schools, and those are tomorrow's voters, and they're going to outnumber us.
It's a slow boil, right? It's an indoctrination at its best, and it's been happening for absolute centuries. You know what I mean? Just like TR said, it's been happening the whole time, but it's such a slow boil that none of us are jumping out. You know what I mean? It's a gradual burn, and I agree with that. Every generation it gets a little softer, a little softer, a little softer. Before you know it, we won't have the wars, traditionally speaking. You know, boots on the ground. It's not going to be a thing. There won't be a need for it, really. Technology and so on and so forth. But then there's that looming of China. You know, I think it will certainly be the next superpower. You know, on a financial end of it, just period. If we don't get it under control now, kind of like TR says, ripping the Band-Aid. I almost think, you know what, just pulling the plug on it and just letting it happen. I think Ron Paul was probably the cutoff time. You know, that was what he was suggesting, and I think that was probably, he was right. The time is now. It's going to hurt now. Now, holy shit, I just don't know if you could do it. I just almost think that it'd be the end. I don't know, man. A lot of people would die. So bad.
If you can grow your own food, I mean, my grandparents went through it. But the whole thing is, if you can grow your own food and got a few chickens, you'll live through it. You only buy one pair of shoes a year, and your kids will be barefoot all summer long.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it definitely happened. Germany is a very prime example of that, certainly. And, well, even certainly at home, there's times of that happening. Just with everything now, even so, there would be, well, how many people even know, just some of the people that are in certainly urban environments, if they can't bring in enough aid, you know what I mean, and keep resources at a minimum and keep law and order, fuck, man, you don't want to get anywhere near a freaking urban environment. Nowhere. It'd be just absolute chaos. They don't have enough military, even personnel, period, to put it all under martial law. Don't have enough. The logistics is unreal, depending on what starts the catalyst. You know, they'll get certain major centers and cores under control, but it's something like right out of a freaking movie, you know? I really believe that, for sure.
Could you imagine New York and Chicago? How much gunfire and gun battles would go on with those, the strictest gun laws there are?
Honestly, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this very carefully, okay? Your emergency services would be inundated within hours. It would be stupid. New York already went back through, the 70s, you know what I mean? They had a major power failure, and that was chaotic. Fire departments are completely inundated and basically is deemed useless, and if they have a perception that shit is not going to get right within the week, I'm a fireman, where am I going? I'm going home and take care of my fucking family and figure shit out. That's what I'm doing. And so is everybody else in the department. So the fires will burn and the city will burn. There's no doubt in my mind.
we got documented history of that, Luke. The LA riots. When that happened, what did they do? They literally called all the police in because they knew they were overwhelmed. I know you remember it, Daniel. I mean, we wasn't there. I wasn't there, but that shit happened. It was chaos in the streets, mob rule,
Pulling truckers out of cabs, hitting them in the head with big stones.
Yeah, you know,
live on TV.
Live on TV, the Koreans were. Some of them were defending their own damn shops, and they were just firing in the streets, just mowing people down, and the police literally were called back because they were overwhelmed. There's no way, even in a small town. I know me and Blues talked about it, like the little town I live near, Travelers Rest. It's about 4,000 people. If there was a big uprising, there's like a dozen cops. What the hell are they going to do?
Well, and you're talking about something that you could probably mitigate within hours anyways, because you call it additional units, and there'd be wave after wave of additional units coming in to solve that small problem. Let's fast forward certainly from what you're talking about with the LA riots, and let's go look at Ferguson, Baltimore. Just take those two, for instance, right? They're two memorable ones that I think most people understand them. Look at those just on the small scale of what it was to be in the middle of that, right? Now take that and put that in every fucking city because something major happened, like, you know what I mean, like in a total economic collapse. Holy shit! I can't even fathom what that'd be like. It would be it's like a grid down scenario. That would be so bad. I can't even begin to tell you how bad that would be. I fantasized about that by researching it the best I could, looking at different examples, even mock-up series, you know what I mean, and just trying to visualize that, to try to prepare against that and wrap my head around it. So if it ever did come to fruition, I have some kind of a shadow of an idea that, yeah, I've seen this before, I have some idea what I'm going to do next. But man, is it scary. It's just the thought of it, you know. I don't think you got enough ammunition. Well, you guys probably have enough ammunition. I probably don't have enough ammunition. So.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of reasons I wish things would get to the turning point and hope that we would fix it. But the annihilation, the human loss, all that keeps me from hoping for it. But the only reason in the back of my mind I still kind of want it is for the next generations. And I don't even have kids. I do have nieces and nephews and stuff. But the path we're on, it's not fixing itself. It's only getting worse. And I hate to think that way, but that's just the information and things I'm seeing. It is getting worse. There's more government control, more government power, more world government. And I don't really see any other way but a reset button.
Yeah.
And that's going to be horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. But, you know, you don't want to see it get to the point to where it can't be reset.
Because look at what we're raising now is a bunch of betas. You know, everyone wants to knock on the alpha male, you know. I mean, that whole thing. So they're in the schools and they're teaching all the boys to be betas and subservient. And it's like, no. It's like, we need this reset, really, because it's going to teach, we're going to get rid of the betas and the strong. It'll turn some of these betas into alphas to learn how to be real men and real women. So when I talk about betas and alphas, I'm talking both sexes, men and women.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Big time. It's sad. You know, it really, here's something I just thought of. Just popped in my head. The irony in it is that if that were all to take place, y'all might want to like immigrants, because the immigrants who already live at a very basic and can kind of live in squalor to some degree and have had to, them and us, the ones who have some sort of prepared mindset, we're going to be living together because we're the only ones fucking left. They'll survive by nature. We'll survive by smarts. It'll work out. So there you go. It'll be them and us.
Yeah. And you're right, Luke. You're absolutely right. Especially the ones that want better for themselves. Well, I don't know if that's the right way to say it. They were wasn't just looking for a fucking handout. They're just trying to survive.
Well, look, I don't think you should have to buy your way into a country. I think that you should basically, let me rephrase that. I don't think you should have cash in hand when you come into a country necessarily. You should go through the process and show that you are doing it, right? I'm not asking you to have a freaking anklet, or an ankle freaking tracer or something like that, or a tracker. Let me think about that for a second. But anyways, I'll go back to that.
Well, I've heard of other countries. I was watching something last night or something, and it was talking about Australia. And I think he was throwing just some stuff out there, but he was like, okay, so we're short nurses, and people that had nursing skills, whatever that qualified, they got bumped up on the list. Hey, we need nurses. Boom, we let nurses in. Like you said, you don't necessarily have to have money to get in. They just needed skills that we need. And same thing here. That's why we had migrant workers decades ago. Hey, we need people to do this migrant work or what I don't know if that's offensive or fuck y'all if you don't like it. Anyway, but I mean, we had, I get that. You're a carpenter, you're a landscaper, you're an architect, you're an engineer, you're a doctor. If we need that skill, yeah, I kind of agree. I know where you're coming from. You don't have to buy your way in. We need that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that before, for sure. If you've got a skill set to offer, it's just the same thing, right? Look it down on a smaller scale. Ladies and gentlemen, if you come to my door, right, and I can let you in, you better become with a skill set. What can you do for me, right? After all, I'm going to feed you, shelter you, give you protection, or whatever the case is. Obviously, you've come to my door because you need something. So that's it. It's a barter system, right? Okay, not a problem. I give you shelter, I give you food, I give you protection, I can give you companionship, but what are you going to give me, right? What do you bring to the table? And I think that's reasonable. And at this day and time where certainly our resources are stretched, we've made commitments across seas of funding and putting money into other countries because of treaties that we have or some kind of agreements we have in place, that we apparently can't get out of because we need a foothold there. It's so goddamn complicated that nothing is just clear cut. And it's like when you go to vote, it's like, there's so many things you got to take into consideration. It doesn't matter if we get this guy in or this girl in. There are so many other things that cannot change. It doesn't matter if they're in or not. Those things are going to still exist. It's like the whole background noise of our government, those career government people that you don't vote in, but they're there, and they're always there through every single presidency or whatever the case is, where they're always in the fucking mix, And there's just constant pain in the ass to a side that seems to be driving towards a greater future, kind of like what you're seeing today. Pelosi, and when you look at Pelosi, what she said basically 6-8 years ago, talking about the wall and the importance of protecting our borders and so on, and supporting basically funding and such, to what she's saying today, well, it's immoral. And I'm thinking, well, what's the flip-flop? Why are you doing that, right? Which doesn't give me a lot of faith in the government, period. I said, well, you just jump ship, you just switch horses mid-race. I don't understand that. It's wholly suspect, I guess is what I'm going to say.
TR. This is a totally different thing, but I know we've talked about it before. I was in Walmart the other day, and you know how they got like 30 registers, and there's now only one person checking you out on a register and 29 empty registers, and there's a self-checkout little section in it now. I went to McDonald's. You got to go up to a kiosk now and put your order in. I wonder what happened there at those two places.
Technology, baby. The AI.
Technology, and they're foreseeing the minimum wage being jacked up on the federal level.
Well, yeah, Walmart went, before this happened, they went and said, oh, we're minimum. We're going to pay everybody $10+ an hour. and now they're doing this at McDonald's and stuff. Everything's going automated and do it yourself, and the people are losing their jobs.
It's a fact. That's what it turns into. So we just had this happen here where I'm in Canada. So the province that I'm in, we have provinces, not states for anybody who's not sure. But in this province, certainly where I'm in, they just had it. They went from like $11.50 up to $14 an hour with a projection by this January, right, just passed, it was supposed to go back up to 15, right? But the new government that came into place put a kibosh on that and stopped it. Now, what did we see as a result of that? Well, in some cases, we've certainly seen a lot less staff being hired, and in some places, they put just a freeze on that because they don't have it. And then there's that other aspect where they're now going to automation because of that. So they've just invested the money in automation. So it's exactly what you're saying it is, Daniel, for sure. You know, there's no doubt about that. We are actually seeing it happen. Not even the anticipation of that, because it was just hammered to them. They didn't even have a time to really prepare for it, really. And yeah, it was devastating. A lot of smaller businesses couldn't. The bigger businesses, you know, said, okay, we're going to invest in the automation. There it is. So it's happening. Yeah, for sure.
So you got all these people losing their jobs, going to be straining the system, and we still going to let all these illegals in. So I mean, yeah, we got Trump in office right now, but this is the stuff that's happening in every town in America. So it really doesn't matter which party we're on. I mean, we're in a Maserati on the super highway heading for that cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. These people will come in and work for a lot less cash, you know what I mean? No benefits, no anything like that, certainly, and live at very bare minimum with a lot of people stuffed in the house to get by because they're already used to that. We're already used to a quality of life up here, and that's that. But even still, you know, we're trackable, we're traceable. You know what I mean? Even if you try to get jobs off the cuff. The other thing is that we've got a lot of industries that are leaving that used to pay big money, right? So now they say, well, the unemployment's down now. We don't have as many people unemployed, but it just they don't have as many high-paying jobs. Therefore, that hurts the economy. That certainly hurts the influx back into the system, which overall hurts the economy. So it's I don't know.
Luke, I want to throw this at you.
Mm-hmm.
Back on 9/11, we went and got this one great act called the Patriot Act, started in the U.S. And now how that's affecting us now is, you know, people losing their jobs. So people going out there doing a little non-government work and trying to put it in their bank account. When you go out there and get a car loan or refi your house, they're coming out and want you to justify all this money that you've had in the bank in or out in the last 10 years. Really? I mean, I got to justify, oh, that $2,000, how did I sold some personal property. Well, what did you sell?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Did you pay your taxes, right? Did they get enough taxes? Some say certainly that Patriot Act was brought in just for that reason, right? It was another way to get into your pockets. You know, they've brought the Cannabis Act certainly up in here and legalized cannabis in Canada. Another way of saying, how can we go there without taxing the people? Well, it's a sin tax. So we're going to let you have something that we would never let you have before, and we know a shitload of you people are going to buy it. We're going to tax the shit out of it. That's exactly what they've done. Now, they've gained quite a few billions of dollars, certainly by doing so. That's arguable. But anyways, it's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing. And it's only going to get worse. It's going to have to try to keep everything running. I think the West is in trouble, Canada included. I think we're in trouble. I think that we let China nickel and dime the shit out of us nice and quietly. Another slow boil methodology right there in play. And they paid their people like shit and just worked on the backs of their people, but they had a shit ton of people to do it with. And it's not even a matter of choice. You have to, you know what I mean? It's survival. And so when you're struggling to survive, we already know that we can go out in the middle of the woods and make a debris shelter and survive, right? And finding some, edibles or whatever the case is, or using the resources we know to gain food. Well, these people are doing that to some degree too, but they're doing it in another manner, saying, I know I need to live at an absolute basic. I'll live in a little basic place and make that happen, and it's indoctrinated over there. And now they're going to do a credit system where you can't even turn against your government. Matter of fact, you can't even turn against your neighbor because your neighbor's going to report you, and therefore you're not going to be able to do X, Y, or Z unless you have a certain credit score. Now, if that happens over here, basically might as well be chipped because there it is.
Oh, the chip?
That's totally controlled.
National ID.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now your driver's license and stuff is all turning in the U.S. It's turning over the national ID. When they tried to put that through, and when Ronald Reagan was in office, he just looked at the guy and said, "What are you talking about? This here is just straight sign of the beast stuff," and it got squished right there. Well, here we are now. It's came in 2018, and now it's 2019, and you're seeing it. It's here.
It's totally here. You know what? They've got basically what? Let's just say, I think I'm not wrong by saying at least 70%. Exactly. Right? Slow indoctrination. Don't force them to do it. Make them demand, right? We'll demand that they give us something because they've already dangled the carrot. We like it. And they'll just keep integrating. Certainly what Elon Musk was talking about is that one of the things we need to be able to do is if we can connect our brain basically directly to this, there's no stopping. We'll be an immensely fast. The amount of development and innovation and so on and so forth and production value will be incredible. And I certainly see that happening. So being able to keep that under control, especially if the economy and shit is going to go into a tank, they're going to really need to be able to keep better control. And so the Patriot Act, being able to track everybody and ask questions all the time, being more and more and more, it is. It's like TR said, they've been wanting to do this for absolute years. And they have been slowly chiseling away, just the same as they will your Constitution, Bill of Rights, Charter of Rights and Freedoms here in Canada. They're going to keep pushing the envelope to get closer and closer to what it is that they want from you, right? Which is your freedom in a sense. You know, it really is. The people say, no, we still have freedom. What, because they tell you do? Fuck, just look around. No, you really don't. You so much fucking freedom, don't pay your taxes for 3 years. See what happens in the end, right?
You need to understand, freedom is slavery, okay? Slavery is freedom.
Yeah.
I think just a little bit off note, kind of ironic, I think. And don't get me wrong, Republicans to a degree as well. Like I said, Patriot Act, who that pass under Bush Jr. But so it's left and right, but especially the left, as radical as they're getting, they are so much following the Nazi outline of how to run a country and what we need to do. The free health care, tax the rich, government control. I mean, they are so Nazi, it's not even funny. It's so not funny, it's funny. That how aligned they are with Nazi Germany and what they want to do. You know, euthanasia, calling out the unwanteds, like I said, the taxes, the government control over all businesses. I mean, just on and on and on and on. It just boggles my damn mind. And then they call somebody like me a Nazi.
Yeah. Dude, it's a oh my God. It's like having it's like taking a car, taking somebody's car from them and taking it and giving it a new paint job and put some spandangle shit into it and giving it back to them, telling them it's a new car. You know what I mean? Like, they just repackage it and send it back to us. It's the same fucking idea. You're right. They did the exact same thing before. No.
It's like they're handy. Here's a cheesecake. Take this cheesecake. Oh, wait a minute. You got to support me. You need to give me that cheesecake back, and now I eat it in front of you.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, that's good.
That was for you, Mossy. I see Bald is out there picking on you, and him and Pops. I'm gonna put him in. Next time they pick on you, Mossy, I'm gonna put him in timeout.
Okay, I'm going to change the subject just for a minute to at least talk about something good. We'll talk about something happy. Or I think it is anyway. I don't know all the ins and outs of this school. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I'm not sharing it. I'm just looking at the story. Florida school hires combat vets with semi-automatic rifles to protect students from active shooters. In quotations, we're not looking for a fair fight. We're looking for an overwhelming advantage. I'm just going to kind of skim over and read the story. A school in Florida is taking school safety so seriously that it has hired 2 combat veterans armed with semi-automatic rifles to patrol and guard the campus against potential threats. According to, just so you know, this ain't some bullshit story, this is pulled from a liberal newspaper, the New York Times. Now, I don't know anything about this school. I don't know if it's a private school, if it's a college. I don't know anything about it. It's the Manatee School for the Arts in Palmetto, Florida. Let me just skim through. Yeah, one of the. Let me skim through. Okay. The Palmetto police chief supports the use of semi-automatic weapons, something not everybody is comfortable with. It's in quotations. Assault rifles, whether you are for or against them, are highly prolific in our society, Chief Scott Tyler said. So why would we not want the school guardian to have parity with that potential threat? And it goes on and on and on. The guardian's salaries are $50,000. Hey, I might need a job. But anyway, I thought it was a feel-good story. Just want to throw that out there that some common sense is starting to hit, and that's a good thing.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
I was going to add, since you just brought up that subject, here's the thing. In my mind, I've lost a lot of respect for a lot of public schools out there. If schools really cared about their kids, and don't get me wrong, I know there's some that do care about their children and all that, but for some reason, if some schools even cared, their own school board, I would say, why don't you fortify your schools? Put bulletproof glass windows and bulletproof glass doors, locked doors I'm talking about, where you can next put a locking system on there, have metal detectors, armed security 24/7, and have a security room. I don't care how much that pays, but I say fortify all your schools. The airports are doing it, why not?
Well, the airports are doing it because they have the funding to do it. That's part of the problem. Is they don't have the funding. Most of them don't have funding for the fucking teachers and the resources they need just to deal with the students, let alone freaking a playground, or let alone basically armed guards, or even fortifying the place. You're right. Maybe local businesses certainly can pick up the pace on that. Metal detectors, whatever the case is, sponsored this, sponsored that, whatever the case is. Some of the costs and such. And I can see that as being very feasible, especially if they work towards that and had committees that went out and did that in the communities. I would see success in that. I think it's a good idea. I think TR is right. They're getting their heads out of their asses about time. You know what I mean? It's maybe a sobering fact that the feel good aspects of the what they wanted to do, ban guns, it's just not going to happen. So they said, okay, well, what are we going to do, right? I mean, whatever we've been trying to do here for the last couple of years, we've got no headway really, but we still have the threat. The problem's still here. So, well, okay, well, let's get somebody we can trust, right? They got a clean background. They've had their, psychological testing and so on and so forth, and everybody's satisfied in that sense. They put them in there. They're extremely well trained. War veterans. Fuck, why not? I think it's a great idea. Geez, you can find 2 of them, you know what I mean, in every area of a school, pretty sure.
TR, where do I send my resume? Because I've already got my, my semi-automatic with my standard capacity magazine, and I'm a veteran, so I'm ready to rock.
I mean, lack of participation, volunteers. I don't even think they'd had to pay $50,000. I think that's great that they are. But at the same time, anybody that opposes it, what is your child's life worth? Can you put a price tag on it? Are you sending your child to a soft target, period, a soft target? There's nobody there armed, or if they are, they've been inadequate, if we've found out. Why would you not want somebody armed protecting your kids?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you walked into a bank, I know they're not all always have armed guard. I remember in the past there was armed guard. The one I go to now, I've never seen one there. But I mean, hell, if you go to a courthouse, there's armed police officers there. I mean, you go to all these other places and there's people armed, but then you want to send your kid to a place where there's nobody armed. And then cry wolf when, oh Lord, somebody went in there and shot the place up. Well, no shit. That's the place you go to shoot somebody up because ain't nobody fucking going to shoot back. How can you not see that?
And the sad point is that people have not learned their lesson. It's been happening too many times.
Well, we got a couple of these prisons down the road, and all those prisoners are protected by armed officers.
Yeah, they need to. It's going to look basically investing. You know, investing in the children. If you really care about the kids, I'm surprised somebody isn't doing it. Maybe it's already happening, where a bunch of veterans get together and they create basically an organization that teams up. You know what I mean? Qualified and vetted veterans. Okay, and they're vetted through a rigorous little program to make sure that everything is on cue, and they basically hook up them with the funding in each one of these school districts, where local businesses pay into the organization. Right, it's supported. They're showing that they're proud of the children and the future, you know what I mean, the future people that are going to run their companies or whatever the case is, and they put into that fund, and they put those boots on the ground for those particular school districts or the schools in general. I don't know how many schools there is in each area, and maybe there's some logistics that have to be figured out on that. But is it possible? I would suggest it very much is, and there would always be, you know what I mean, a constant rotation of veterans coming into that program, you know. And even if not veterans per se, but people, you know what I mean? And they would still make some kind of a modest living of doing that. I think it's totally feasible. And why wouldn't they do that?
Well,
You know?
it is feasible because around here, and like at my church that I go to, we have a security and it's all voluntary, but we train once a month. We're all vetted, and we go out and qualify, but every month we go out there and get more training. I mean, from not just one gun range or club, but all around, within 50 miles of the ranges, and anybody that's in the gun business is offering this training for free. And some of it is also giving it to teachers. So it's there.
Yeah, the teachers too. I do believe that if a teacher says, hey, you know what, I've got 40 teachers in this school, I'm not saying arm every fucking teacher. What I'm saying is that, no, I don't want to arm somebody who's going to be never going to be comfortable carrying that firearm. Jesus, no, I'm not asking that at all. What I'm saying is if out of 40 teachers, you've got two that put up their hand and say, yeah, absolutely. I'd be totally willing to do that every day. You know what I mean? And they always know that it's Mr. Spencer, you know what I mean, and Mrs. Brock. Those are the two that you know them in the hallway. They're the one that carry. You know what I mean? They're also the ones that seem most mindful. And they're the ones that's going to be running into the problem if there's a problem, right? And they're right in the ground if we can't do the other in the interim. And even in addition to the two that, the two professionals that you put there. There's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think people are really not looking at it well enough. We have police officers every day, armed guards that carry around our cash, every day carrying a sidearm. Private civilians carrying a sidearm. You don't hear about plethora of wrongful shootings and accidental shootings in all those situations. Accidental shootings usually happen private owners in their home or just being careless. Not necessarily all the stats. I know that. Somebody out there is going to say, you're not right there, Luke. But you know what I mean. I think it's feasible. I really do. Just got to get their heads over their eyes.
Hell, I mean, you may have touched on it, but even police are they're citizens. I shouldn't say just citizens, but they are really just citizens. They've been trained to do this job. We've given them the authority to do this job, but they're still citizens. Even a military person. But I mean, there's really nothing that defines me from my next door neighbor. We're American citizens. Okay, I might have signed a paper and made an oath and then they handed me a full automatic machine gun or a tank. But I'm still just a citizen. And why anybody would think that a citizen couldn't protect their children or should be allowed to have a gun to protect their children or themselves or anybody else is ridiculous. You know, and the same people that cry that we shouldn't have guns to defend ourselves or to defend others are the same ones that bitch and cry and say police brutality. It's like, well, you just said that you don't want police to have too much power, but then you turn around and say they're the only ones that should have power over us. Get your fucking story straight.
It's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
You keep going down this road, the next thing you're going to see here at TR is gun racks and pickup trucks in the parking lots at high schools.
Oh, God.
I did it. So deer hunting and squirrel hunting.
I would say that, wouldn't be a bad idea. Here's the problem, and I always come back to the mental illness problem. Right? Before, I don't know what it's like in the United States, certainly, but in Canada, we kept people that certainly were not mindful enough to be out on their own. We're going to put it that way. And we had special places that we could put these people. Most of those things have closed nowadays. We don't have that kind of resources or funding up here. They've closed all those places. And now they're saying, in group homes or whatever the case is, and sometimes out with supervision and sometimes not. And then we also have the problem of infrastructure, resources and such to take care of people with mental illness and to be sure there's programs to ensure they can stay, certainly medicated if need be, or assessed or whatever the case is, in some kind of measure of control. I think that's definitely gotten worse, which certainly adds to the problem. Because even back then, how many times did you have a problem with the guy carrying that shotgun in the back window and he go out and shoot anybody? You know what I mean? But nowadays, well, they've got everybody so goddamn scared. I mean, there's the other problem. Media has done certainly that. Is it a bigger problem? Well, it happens, yeah. It's always happened, and there's more people too. Let's not forget that. So frequency based on that sense, well, geez, you're going to have more instances, of course, the more people you have. And with more people comes more stressors. And economy and everything else adds stressors, So I look at it that way too. If you want to try to control it, if you're going to put your money somewhere, put it where it makes sense, and that you're not infringing upon the rights that you have. And if you don't like the second, well, Jesus, fall in love with the rest of them. You know what I mean? And then you'll understand the importance of making sure that none of them infringed upon, right? So, and that importance, they were put there for a reason, So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm off top subject here or not, but look at the UK. They're literally arresting people for speech. And if we don't get control of what's going on, they're pushing for that here. I mean, you could literally say something on Facebook and get fucking arrested in England. Literally thrown in jail.
That's actually happening?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. They have hate speech laws in the UK. You can go to jail for it. And it's not like you're saying, it's not like they're calling for the annihilation. It's not hate speech to the point to where they're saying, hey, we need to kill these people, or I want to kill this person. I mean, we kind of got laws against that now. You can't make death threats in America, which that kind of makes sense. Or calling for the killing of somebody. No, you could just make some kind of comment against the gay community or immigrants. That's the one they're going after right now. If you say anything bad about immigrants, they can come and arrest you, put your ass in fucking jail. And they're talking about the immigrants that's coming from the Middle East is causing so many problems. It's fucking insane. I mean, now that's there. Don't get me wrong. But that don't mean that they're not working on it here.
Remember Matt used to say it all the time, right? An armed society is a polite society. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. Look, and I said this before. I mean, TR, I'm almost sure is taller than I am, right? I'm probably a little beefier than he is. I can pretty much assure that. But at the same instance, if I come up to him and I see that he's an armed man, not likely I'm going to look up to him and sit there and go, you skinny fucking redneck, I'll knock your head off. Not likely I'm going to say that to him. I'm going to treat that man with respect. Why? Because he can hold me accountable right in the moment, and I know that. Whether or not he will or not, I can see it. And to me, that's just as much as me standing in front of TR, you know what I mean, and not at the same height. Now he looks at me and knows no firearms. Is he still going to say that to me? Not when I look like I can knock his block off, with just my hand. So again, it's the accountability. It's the same thing as if we didn't have society as we have it, women would certainly be different in the world, because it is about who's bigger. You know what I mean? Who can hold you accountable for whatever words you use. Right now, we have a society, certainly laws and certainly rights and so on, and this is what makes an equal playing field like it should be. But in an animalistic society, right? It's survival of the fittest, and you mind your distance, you mind your territory, because it's just the way it is. It's the law of the land. We don't have that as much anymore. And now it's like, well, I'm just going to slap you and, that's it. Or I'm going to steal your shit because I may get caught, I may not get caught. And the justice system is choke. It's so long and drawn out. Prisons are full anyway, so I don't know. It's just different now. It's just so different. And police their time is being taken up with such mediocre shit that used to be you wouldn't call the police because the neighbor's dog shit on your freaking lawn every morning. You take the shit and throw it against this wall and say that I told you 3 times. You know what I mean? That's it. Now they don't want to do that. It's I'm calling the fucking cops. I'm calling the cops. You know what I mean? And they're inundated with just bullshit. So that's changed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I'm sure you've seen some news footage of a lot of I hate to keep harping liberal, but that's just what I'm seeing. Rallies or marches, and they're just screaming at people, sometimes getting violent. And like you say, if you had a sidearm on you, that shit wouldn't happen. It would not happen. And they're banking on the fact that even if you just wanted to fight back with your fist, that you're not going to do it because of the way the laws are, blah, 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 blah. But a few times I've seen videos where the guy just had enough and just knocked the motherfucker out.
You're always going to have that too, right? I mean, it's still there. Don't get me wrong. Because at alcohol, they don't care if the cop's on the other side of the room. They just don't fucking hit them. When there's no cop, shit's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because there's nobody to hold me accountable. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, nobody's fucking here holding me accountable, so this guy's going to get it. That's it.
Hey, $218, I'll be out tomorrow. Like it. Bam. That's where you get them good little quick videos on YouTube. I mean, on Facebook. It's like, this guy forgot he wasn't at a keyboard.
Yeah, that's so true. That's why when it was bouncing, I mean, you'd have guys come in and you'd know the regular crowd. As soon as you see them, you see a group come in and they go, all of a sudden it's like, hey, how you guys doing? You know what I mean? Just check your IDs and shit. You check their IDs and you go, fuck, they're from out of town. Here we go. These guys don't know nobody here. They think they have anonymity in that sense. And it's like, yep, these guys are going to be powerhouses. You know what I mean? Oh, where you guys come from? Oh, our hockey game. Perfect. Now it's going to definitely be a shit show. So, automatically there's going to be a fight because these guys are just going to go back to the little fucking town that's 2 doors down. And, you know what I mean? And that's it. And it's the same principle nowadays, though, too. But I think it's on a larger scale to some degree. Although, I don't know. I guess that goes both ways. Kind of what Daniel was saying, too, right? In the sense that we have so many entitled people now, the millennials. Holy shit, man. It's like you can't say nothing without being somebody to be offended, and there has to be some kind of goddamn protest all over it. I'm going, holy shit, man! It's words. Take it easy. You know what I mean? Like, damn. It's like, you should be able to tell somebody you're gonna kill them, but nothing would happen. It's like, you wouldn't kill them, and nobody come and fucking tag you for it either. Now you look at me and go, well, you little bitch. You know what I mean? I should have killed you. Oh, great. Now I'm gonna have people come to my door tomorrow morning. Should do that live.
But it's true. I mean, why does everybody get so offended so easily? I mean,
Whatever happened to sticks and stones?
yeah. I mean, it takes a lot to piss me off. Don't get me wrong. I do get pissed off. I do get irritated. But as far as some kind of political whatever, I mean, yeah, I can get into a little keyboard debate with somebody, but it's not like it makes me want to kill somebody. And I definitely don't want to call the law on them. I'm just like, that little bitch.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right.
No matter how bad I get into a debate with somebody, I don't talk to them anywhere bad as I do to my actual friends. Because I don't even know if there's a lot of us on this little group text, the farm guys, as we call it. They call it the farm chat. And even guys I work with, I don't know that we ever talk to each other without insulting each other. It's like if you quit insulting them, it'd be like, hey, what's wrong, man? What's up?
TR, yeah, I mean, I think like Tool Monkey there. He said he's seen you kind of ticked a couple times. I seen you make a couple videos when you were pretty ticked. I love those videos.
Well, you know what it is, though, is that we all know each other. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? If something were to go down and that person was beside you, you know, at best he'd be like, you know, you motherfucker, I got your back. Don't you fucking turn your, you know what I mean? You get my back, I got yours, you know? That'd be how it is. You know that. And I think it used to be that way. You know, you could actually have a block party. You could have a street party and close down the street. You can't do that no more. You know, at least not where I'm at. You just can't. You don't know enough of your neighbors to do it. Or you make it work. That's not true in all places. I get that. But I would say it's just not as frequent. And I can't. We're just so busy. We're so busy trying to keep up with it all. We just don't have enough time for it. You know? When we do, when we get that group of friends, most of them are our fucking neighbors. You know? So, I don't know. Back when I was young, we knew every neighbor on the road. And any of us needed any problem. I grew up on a farm, though, so I mean, it was different. But any of us would help each other out. You know, just go down and ask. And that's it. You know, get a tractor to plow the rest of the field if something went terribly wrong. You know, we work something out in the end. I don't know. Maybe it just got, like my dad said, he says, we just got too big. We got too big. You know, maybe that's it.
Yeah, the little town I grew up in, it's grown up a lot too. It's not huge or nothing, but you did see a few years ago, you almost never passed another car without throwing up a hand, even if you didn't know them. And if somebody's broke down, I mean, I've stopped a few times. Matter of fact, I'm not bragging. But that girl I'm dating, Sonia, she kind of gave me a pat on the back on it. We were driving down the road, I mean, out in the middle of fucking nowhere, going to a friend's house. And a lady was flagging us down. It's nowadays, so it wasn't a flare or a flashlight. It was her cell phone, using it for a light. You know? And I stopped, and I was able to get her car started and get her on her way. And she's like, I can't believe she's done that, and da da. And I'm like, well, maybe she felt so desperate she didn't have a choice. And I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I know one thing I told Sonia. She was telling me that she was kind of almost angry at the girl for doing that. And I said, well, one of the reasons I stopped and tried to help her, and luckily I was, is because I didn't know who the next guy that was going to come by. So I would rather stop, and I was armed, don't get me wrong, in case it was some bullshit going on. But I would rather stop and try to help her, because, you know, maybe the next guy ain't that good a guy. Because, I mean, we were 10 miles from the next gas station. I mean, it was nowhere, you know. But anyway.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, we still do the same thing here, right? I mean, I just did it last week there, right? Geez, I just did it on the weekend, as a matter of fact. But, and it's surprising. I said, you know, did you have to wait long? You know what I mean? They said, Jesus, yeah. A lot of cars were bought. And it's like, okay. And I chalk it up to a lot of people saying, well, they probably have a cell phone. They probably have somebody in the way. I don't know if I can help them, or I don't have the faculty to even assist them. I'm just unsure. I don't know if it's safe, and I don't do that. I mean, so those are all the different, you know, things that are going to take place. So out of those, you find the TRprepper, certainly the Daniel and, you know, Warsaw and, you know, the rest of us that would stop most likely. I believe we would anyway. I don't think it takes a rare breed, but Jesus, I guess it's kind of getting that way in it. So.
I don't still think it's that hard to try. Maybe I'm naive some ways. It shouldn't be that hard to do the right thing. Whether you could help, whether I could have helped her or not, if she did have somebody on the way, I could stay there until they got there to make sure some horse shit didn't go down.
Right.
I figured that was in my mind. I was thinking that. I was like, okay, you know, I was strapped on. I got a Glock. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm going to be, my head's on a swivel. It's not the kind of place. It wasn't like a fucking interstate where there was some ambush going on, because, you know, I ain't gonna get into all that. But it just wasn't the place for that, you know. But it was like, let me see what I can do. She's got a cell phone. I don't know. We can call it, hell, I'll call a wrecker for her or something, you know. But I would have hated myself if I had kept driving though.
Yeah.
I had to do something.
Because it comes back to, it's like, what if it's your sister or mom out there?
Yeah.
You would hope that somebody would stop and help them.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Yeah, you're totally right on that. I think that's what drives most people to do it. I believe that most people are good-hearted for sure. I always say it to people too. You know, look, if you see an emergency happening, if it's a medical emergency, whether it's a criminal act that's taking place, I don't care who's creating the criminal act. If you don't think it's right, I mean, stop, say something, call somebody else. If it's a police officer you don't think is actually, call the dispatcher and say, listen, I see this police officer doing it. This don't look right. You know, I think you should send a sergeant on this way. You know what I mean? Some more superior officers, because I can't see this as being right. You know, so I see something, say something, but just use your head. You know, understand what you're actually calling in. Some people, they just call for every little goddamn thing. It's like, man, you do anything sensible? You know what I mean? I've seen that shit. But the same is doing something. You know, sometimes just is making a call for somebody. So you don't have to get out. You don't have to actually interact with the person too much. Just say, hey, look, you know, down here, I passed by somebody at the very least. Hey, look, police department, state trooper's office. You know, I see a car broke down there. It looks like a young lady there. You know, I haven't stopped certainly, but this is where she's such, and you need to send somebody down. At the very least, you've done that. Jesus, it's a little bit better than doing nothing and just saying, well, I'm sure somebody will stop. You know.
Where I live, I mean, where the barn's at across the road from me, people, you know, that drive this road all the time, they know where that barn's at, and they know if every month somebody breaks down and they coast into the barn driveway. Heck, the Scotsman out there, we were down there on the other side of the barn shooting our guns, and we had some young guys pull in, and their truck was broke down. But you know, and now it's the middle of winter and it gets really cold. Last week, a guy broke down there, and he must have called his mom or something. I mean, just 60-something old woman, and she's out there at the end of my drive with her son while they're blocking our barn drive, and just waiting on the tow truck to come. You know, just go down there and say, hey, everything okay? And it's like, you know, just check on them, just let them know you're around. But it's always.
Yeah, that's it. Look, funny story on Sunday. So my niece stayed overnight. My sister and I. My sister works about a half an hour away. She said, I'm going to head up from work here at 2 o'clock. I met her up there, picked up her daughter, Shirley, my niece there. And she went on her way ahead of me, but I had to go in behind her. So I pulled in the grocery store. She went on her way. I was coming to check out with what I needed. She calls me and says, "Hey, can you call the cops for me?" And I said, "Hey, what's going on?" She says, "Well, I'm heading northbound. I'm about 2 clicks out, right north of town. I see a guy. He slumped over in the ditch, and it doesn't look quite right. But I got shy with me, and I don't really want to stop." I said, "How far out?" She goes, 2 clicks. And I said, "Okay, just give me another landmark." So she gave me the landmark, and I said, "Okay, I'll head up that way now, and I'll look at it and see what the problem is before I call one on." So I went up, and I found the guy. He was actually walking on the left-hand side of the road when I got up there, or oncoming lane, walking away from me. So I called her back and said, I've located the guy. Description's right. He's got a green garbage bag. He's actually collecting empty cans, almost sure of it. So I turned around to go back home. Of course, I was passing him. I stopped, and I said, "How you doing?" I said, my sister called, seems to be over the ditch. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm always worried about what people think about that." And he says, "But hey, thanks for, tell your sister, thanks very much. I appreciate that." And I said, "Hey, no problem." He says, "And thanks for stopping and telling me the story. I'm going to go back and tell my wife that story tonight." It was just interesting how that kind of went domino effect and touched each other, and like I said, on the weekend, I just stopped. And so that's kind of the story on that. And it still makes me feel good, that I had that interaction with him. He reached through, took his glove off, shook my hand, and that's human. And I enjoyed that experience, and felt good about it too. So yeah, that was definitely out of my way. But I don't know. I feel even bad saying that it was out of my way. I don't think it was out of my way. Not when I thought maybe somebody might be in distress. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I got us off on this tangent, but I think it's kind of related back to our generation that are used to helping each other out and doing things for people, because we're seeing a lot of stuff that there's a lot of people out there, I don't think they're going to help anybody out. They can't help themselves, much less anybody else.
Yeah, a few years. I mean, now you don't want to get in a bad situation. A few years ago, I was driving down the highway. I look out in the field, and there's a body laying out there, and it's like, oh, okay, pull over. And it's like, do I want to go into a crime scene? Do I want to check and see if he's still alive? No, I called 911. I got, police say, it's like there's somebody over here. I don't know if they're dead or alive. Well, it turns out the police even knew the guy, and he wasn't even from the area. They dealt with him the night before, and here he was, passed out on drugs again, way out on farm country. I mean, about 40 foot off the road, passed out, in a cow pasture. But with the drugs that we got these days too, yeah, now there's a whole new, do you want your wife stopping to see if somebody's in trouble or not? That's like when you start thinking that way. I don't have a problem with it, but do I want my daughter stopping?
No, that's it. And they have to use common sense with that stuff nowadays, and they should have even back 20 years ago. Nevertheless, or you shouldn't, or you are able to, close that gap reliably. You're not sure of it, like a wounded animal. Be sure before you approach, and approach from the back. Maybe get some resources on the way. See what time frame it is. See if you can get some additional information for it. Be a good witness. At least pick up the phone. Teach them that. Don't take unnecessary chances. Stuff like that. But you can still do something.
Yeah, I had a matter of fact, the reason I first got my first cell phone, kind of way on the subject, I broke down on the way to work. When the way I went, it was through the country and over the hills and through the woods. And I had actually run out of gas. It was old. Long story short, it was an old car. I hadn't drove it in a while, and the gas gauge, the needle had stuck. I was actually out of gas, didn't know it. It was showing like half a tank or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, and a lady stopped, but she stopped like, a little ways away from me, on the other side of the road, and I knew what she was doing. She was keeping her distance, and I respected that. And I didn't approach her. I didn't, I was just, we were just talking. I was like, yeah, I think I'm running out of gas. Da, 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 da. I didn't have a cell phone. This was in the 90s. And it just so happened somebody that she knew drove up behind her, a guy, and he stopped and asked what was going on, and he gave me a ride home, but I totally understood her stopping. I appreciated her stopping to check on me, what was going on, whatever, but she kept her distance. She never even got out of her car. And I don't blame her. I knew exactly what was going on in her mind. We out in the middle of the damn country. Yeah, don't come over here. You don't know who I am. Stay away from me. That's fine. And after that's when I got a cell phone. I was like, yeah, I don't need this shit no more. But it was when cell phones were still kind of new and what have you.
And you would have been able to tell that friend of his, you know what I mean, that, hey, when you do talk to her next, it'd be more appropriate for you to tell her this message that she had a good approach, smart, you know what I mean? And she still did the right thing and good on her. She could still get away in a hurry if she needed to. Certainly she had control of the situation and was still able to render help to some degree. And quite frankly, if she hadn't stopped and had the conversation and that friend come up behind, there's a good chance he might have just passed on by her. Maybe. Yeah, right?
Exactly. He just recognized the car and that's why he stopped.
Yeah.
Because he might for at that point he might have thought she was the one broke down. He didn't know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. A little bit of effort goes a long ways.
Hey, TR, back to the wall discussion we had earlier. Did you guys see on the news? El Chapo finally got trialed in New York.
Yeah, he's found guilty, right?
Yep.
When did they catch him? Was that back in the 80s?
Yeah.
He escaped.
He escaped a few times. And supposedly we have seized $14 billion from him. I say we just put that toward the wall.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, eh? You get all this stuff, forfeiture and blah, blah, blah. It's like, put that into the emergency funding.
Use all this confiscated drug money.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have that wall built in 6 months.
Yeah.
Jesus, yes. And I mean, it's just, no, that's a terrible thing to say. I will say it. Fuck it, I'm in Canada. You all there to kiss my ass. Here's the thing. You just get all those seized immigrants you got instead of sending them back over, sitting there going, no. You're going to make a pit stop at the wall. You're going to do some building before we send your ass back over. Anyway,
Time served.
Bingo, right? Hey, how many people you got in prison down there? Shit. 1 million people. We could put freaking cufflinks on them, put them on a big old chain gang, just make them stand there. That'd be all right. Well, not everybody in prison is a bad guy, too. I get that, but. Vast majority, I'd say.
I do want to bring up on the wall thing. I have not looked it up, but I got it from a really good source that the United States has a 60-foot right-of-way on the border. So they already have a 60-foot right-of-way, because I've seen a lot of comments, well, that's just the government using eminent domain to take over ranches and stuff. It's like, no, they got a 60-foot right-of-way. The only places that they don't is there are some Indian tribal lands that they don't have that 60-foot right-of-way. But other than that, the entire southern border, we got a 60-foot right-of-way. I'm sure on the north as well, but we don't really worry about that as much. But anyway, so if you ever hear that argument, they don't have to use eminent domain to build a wall. They already own it. And my source is Matt from Resist to Tyranny. So if you have a problem with that, you need to take that up with him personally.
Yeah, I don't think
how
that
that
goes in Canada. Because there's this one town where they got the border from America and Canada. It goes right through this library. It's like it's got a big yellow line through the middle of the library.
Yeah, if you go through the front door, apparently it's neither here nor there. That's what I hear. There's one where there's a street, right the center line of the street. One side's America, and you're not supposed to cross it. You technically need to go and declare yourself at this little border stop there. It's a strange little thing. It's the world's largest undefended border, certainly. At least I think that's still a fact. And yeah, we're not coming down there. If anything, we should be building a wall to keep your problems down there, quite frankly.
No, you already have tough enough immigration laws, because you wouldn't let all these Hollywood starlets and these actors come up there, a couple years ago. Not one of them got in. I mean, come on, you got to lighten up and let these here snowflakes up there.
Well, none of those snowflakes are taking the fucking country trail across neither. So that's the problem. They'll go through the port of entry, go denied. Shucks. All right. Well, I guess I'll go back. You know what I mean? It's so much more mellow up here, and plus we're polite and such too. So most people we're like, nah, we're just kidding. Come on, you're all right. Come on.
I do think we do need a big ass wall on the Canadian border to keep that damn cold air out.
Yeah, that's true. But as the Mexicans say, we're a little upset in the beginning, but we'll get over it.
Everybody say goodnight.
I know when I heard about that, when Matt, I seen he quoted that, it made sense. It's like, how in the hell did we? I wouldn't even thought we didn't have some kind of right of way, because I heard, oh, there's ranchers down there and you'll be encroaching on their property, and I'm like, wouldn't the federal government kind of own the border? And then he told me they had a 60-foot right of way, and I was like, of course they do. I'm almost surprised it's only 60 foot, but that's enough to put a wall, a road, or whatever they need. Even the property I own, the guy that owns the property behind me has a 20 or 30 foot right of way on my freaking border, on my line of property. And that's because you cannot deny any piece of property that's sold. You can't deny them utilities or driveway or whatever. There's no such thing, at least in South Carolina, you cannot buy a landlocked piece of property to where you couldn't get power, a driveway to it. Somebody's got to give a right of way. That's the law, and I'm pretty sure the federal government would have a right of way to the border of our country.
Yeah, that's been probably, I'm pretty sure, I haven't done the research, but I would say that's probably pretty reliable information. That, with some exceptions. And I guess that's what they lock onto. The opposing team is always locking onto the exceptions, the rule, or the big elephant in the room, or whatever is their standing defense point, which is only natural, I suppose. So that's what you're going to hear. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're looking at this information, understand that there's more to every story. Look who's actually authoring it, where their sources come from, what do they primarily pluck from, the left or the right, and it's your right to vote, right? Not your duty. Your duty is to be informed. It's responsibility, quite frankly.
Well, we won't get into that.
Yeah, that'll be a whole other conversation. You know how hot I get about that voting thing.
I talk about the other thing you mentioned, but
yeah.
We ain't got time for that. It's getting towards wrapping up here.
We ain't got time for all that now. Yeah, it's never good to get into a big discussion like that closer to the end.
All right, what else do we have? I did see that NBC News reported that Congress, I hadn't read into it a lot, so I can't say for sure. But anyway, they finally concluded that the Senate or Congress had finally come up with a conclusion that Trump's campaign did not collude with Russia. That's not saying that Mueller's come out with his conclusions, but Congress has. Not that we didn't know that already, but
I just can't see that anyways. The risk of getting caught, and I said this from the beginning, it's like, there's no way that any of them that are getting that close to holding that seat, I just can't see them fucking around with it. Not anymore.
They did though. Hillary did.
Yes.
That whole nuclear deal. I mean, with the yellow cake. What's yellow cake?
Yeah.
Well, part of their thing was the fact that, you know, the Russians were buying Facebook ads and influencing the election, and they had colluded with Trump. And it's like, well, what did they accomplish? Because every poll, every news outlet, it was going to be like a 90-10 landslide against Trump. So if they were collusion, let's just say there was collusion. Trump needs to be able to sue them for their false fucking numbers because they got it wrong.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know what? I mean, and again, it was kind of like I've been listening to a lot of, I guess over the years anyways, I've always taken time to listen to what Putin's saying when he's in interviews. That might not mean a hill of beans when it comes down to it, because he can tell you anything he wants. And maybe it's not even I'm reading it right. So if I'm looking at it just generally speaking, does it seem like he's being genuine when he says it? How is he delivering the message? Maybe that's not reliable. Maybe when someone say that's not reliable. Okay, well maybe. But when you look at it, he says basically it's like, no, the Russian government is not doing any of that stuff, right? Why would we? What do we care? We don't care. We want them to stay out of our business, right? If our business is Ukraine, or if our business is Crimea, or if our business is, stay the fuck out of our business, right? We're doing our thing over here. We don't need you to come over and interpret anything for us. We're doing just fine over here, you know? Stop meddling. Right? They said it to Canada too when we had something to say, and told them, shut up. I think it's like, you know, don't poke the bear. Right? As Canadians, we shouldn't do that.
If Russia was even trying to do it, so what? Well, because that's Washington's job. I guess I understand, to mess with other people's politics. That belong, you know, that's the CIA and all that their stuff. Oh no, the U.S. never did that.
Right, but I'm saying is that it may not have been the Russian government, but it could have been absolutely been Russian organizations of some sort who felt strongly about interfering. I think that, and he even said it. I don't know. Maybe. If we found it, certainly we found that they did something wrong, we'll take care of it, right? But again, it's our business, right? And if you did, well, what do you expect? You've got an American corporation that's world fucking wide, right? And you're saying it's our problem? Like, go talk to Mark, okay? He's the one who put Facebook fucking worldwide, right? He gives us the platform to do it. If these people here are radicals in my country, what do you want me to do? Go round up all the radicals? Well, we're doing that, and we do it in order that we see fit, right? Again, fuck off. Don't touch us. We're fine. You know, it seems to me like people just kind of looked at it and laughed at it. Just said, whatever. You guys want to spend all that time doing that to try to get the hand, you know what I mean? Everybody look over the hand that's doing this while you guys are fucking obviously doing this shit over here that we clearly can see. Because we got spies in your country, you got spies in our country. That shit's happening all the time. You know, and they know. It's just, to me, to some degree, the whole thing was just balls. It was just balls. You know,
Facebook thing. If they were selling ads and stuff like that, it's like, well, that's, if you'll sell to anybody, how is that? I mean, I can buy a Facebook ad. If I want to spend the money and run an ad, they'll fucking sell it to me. More than likely, unless they don't agree with it or whatever, but as long as they agree with it. But that don't mean it was fucking Trump that had done it. And even I seen a guy interview. He was some kind of. He's the guy that what's the big anti-spyware McAfee. Yeah,
McAfee.
Yeah, he was on an interview on a news show, and he was like, I don't know what he leans left or right, but he's like, look, they traced this to a particular computer in Russia. He said, if Russia, the government of Russia, was trying to influence the election through ads and fake accounts and all that, we wouldn't be able to trace it to that computer. it would be a computer traced to fucking Indonesia or something. They would have that shit bouncing off and going somewhere else. They wouldn't be so stupid not to change their IP address.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. That's a very valid point. Exactly. Jesus, I'm feeling embarrassed that I didn't come up with that earlier, to be honest with you. No shit, right?
Well, I mean, people in politics all should be smart enough. Oh, wait a minute. The whole Hillary, she used bleach bit. Never mind.
But that made so much sense. It's just like, yeah, you're right. If the Russian intelligence was trying to influence it, you wouldn't trace it back to them. I mean, geez, there's kids in a basement that can do shit that you can't trace back to them. Do you think the fucking Russian government would do stuff that you could trace back to them? It's not.
Right.
It didn't come from there. I'm just saying it wasn't the Russian government.
And again, even if Russia was there, well, besides that, I mean, the fight is over here, I suppose. But, again, even if Russia was doing it, I think Putin would still look at it and go, so my government's doing it. I don't care. So what? Wah. Cry a little bit more. Too bad. Make your fucking firewalls a bit better. You know what I mean? Put some regulations on your Facebook people over there and say, you can't fucking go worldwide with it. Well, you can't do that because we have an amendment to that effect, so you got to protect your rights. Okay, well, there it is then. So, you're kind of doomed. It is what it is. As long as that's the president or the president-to-be didn't do anything wrong against the rules that we have here, it's clear.
I mean, look at the security breaches we've been having with North Korea and China. That's been going nonstop over one minor thing in 2016.
And it's not going to stop. Technology is going to get better. They're going to beat the technology. They're going to beat the freaking walls. They're going to beat whatever. It's even putting up a wall down there. You're just going to slow it down and funnel people a bit better and give your border patrol a bit better chance. They're still going to go over it. You know what I mean? They're still going to go under it. Eventually they will. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, and you bring a good point. The whole thing, which is, I don't understand the argument. It's like, well, people just come through the ports of entry. It's like, what exactly? That's what we want. Funnel them in over here, and then we can take care of it. Okay, you want this? No, I'm sorry, you don't qualify. Turn around. Oh, you got tuberculosis, and I'm sorry, you got to turn around. A lot of people don't realize, and don't quote me on all the spec or info. But the whole thing with the Ellis Island way back in whatever 20s, 30s, or whatever, the immigrants that came over, we put them on Ellis Island, vetted them, made sure they were healthy, not bringing stuff over, blah, 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 and then we let them in. It was a holding place.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's like, oh, yeah, everybody came in and you got off the boat and you was here. No. We corralled y'all's ass up on Ellis Island and then vetted you and then let you in even then.
Yeah, that's called quarantine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quarantine.
Not to mention, it was all transferred by ship.
Yeah.
It's sense. It's just common sense. My God, if you're seeing the problem in an influx, if they're just walking across anywhere they please, okay, if we had the same problem in Canada, we'd be having a conversation up here, right? And quite frankly, we are having a bit of that problem. You know what I mean? More and more people are still heading north. They're like, shit's kind of fucking itchy down here. We better just keep going, pressing north. Why? Because we can totally walk into another country when we get up there. And the RCMP up here will go, hey, how you doing there? Gosh, you're not supposed to come across here, but get in, it's cold out, we'll give you a ride. And that's about all it goes.
Oh, I want to say something about someone's comment here. Well, Kalashnikov Mania, you said tax the rain. Sorry, California has done that. The rain is taxed in California.
New Jersey's looking at that too.
Yeah, there's municipalities that do it too, right? They can look at your square footage of your home and what falls onto your roof, you're going to get taxed on that. And that takes care of your storm, sewer, and so on and so forth. So it's still a form of taxing your rain.
Oh, here in Ohio, where I'm at the Muskingum Water Conservancy District, it's not a tax. It's an assessment for the water district.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It still spells tax.
Yeah, Stan's got a good quote out there. You have to laugh about some shit sometimes and look at movies and how stuff ends up coming true. Stan Ulch, Spaceballs, tax the air. Oh, wait, we do that already.
Fuck the carbon tax, man. It's pretty much what that is.
They're taxing cow farts too in California.
Yeah.
Really,
Welcome to communism.
Mm-hmm.
the problem with socialism, you soon run out. You soon run out of everybody else's money.
Exactly. That's the bottom line. Yep. All right, guys, we're going on about 2 hours. If y'all want, unless anybody's got anything else they want to talk about or bring up, that's fine. No takers, givers. Okay.
I got nothing.
All right. Good enough. It's been 2 hours. I want to thank you guys for coming on the panel. I do appreciate it. I really do. We ended up having a big crowd. I seen 53 or 54 at one time, so that's a pretty good crowd. And I think it's going to grow a little bit now that I'm back on a regular basis. And we'll see what happens. I'll let everybody do an outro for everybody bounces out. And I'll start with you, Daniel. You want to do an outro?
No. Oh, hey, well, TR, thanks for having me on, guys, in the side chat. Great tonight. Luke, Warsaw Patriot, nice meeting you guys tonight.
And Stan, I will agree. Thought tax. No, just thought crimes. Yeah, that's what they call red flag law. Anyway, Luke, Rush Creek, would you like to do an outro?
Well, certainly, TR, it's always a pleasure to certainly sit in any room with you, certainly, and certainly you're some of your closest friends here this evening. Warsaw, certainly, I don't sit on many chats with you, certainly, so it's a pleasure, sir. Daniel, always a pleasure, sir. I don't think you're too far south of me, to be honest with you, just from your accent alone. I know TR's a little further, you can tell by his accent. But always a pleasure. Certainly the folks on the side chat. You kept a good 50 people watching there tonight. So that's probably all you guys, and that's really good. So it's a privilege certainly sitting with you. Ladies and gentlemen, certainly I'm a Canadian, certainly, so I'm privileged certainly sitting with a bunch of Americans, and a few others from certainly a couple other countries on the outside that I recognize. And just remember, there's certainly the views and thoughts expressed here from the Canadian side are certainly those expressed certainly from the TRprepper show, and that's trprepper@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. So thanks again.
That's not a secret. I don't mind if people get that. And Warsaw, like I say, I've had you here a few times. We're glad you didn't have a lot to say, and that's okay. I know maybe you're a little new to chat, so you got to jump in there. If you hear a pause, you just got to jump in, man.
Oh, basically, sorry to Warsaw because I'm terrible. Fuck, I'm terrible. I'm sorry, Warsaw. I'll ask you next time before I start talking.
You're fine, dude. TR, thanks for having me on, man. It's been an honor and good time to speak with you guys. Daniel, it's been an honor and great time to talk to you guys. Scott, same thing. The Canadian, that's our patriot and our friend. Yep, and yeah, thanks for having me on, TR. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime, man. You're welcome anytime. And I just want to thank everybody for coming by. I hope we entertained y'all, or I don't want to say educated, but at least talked about some good subjects. And we'll see you back in 2 weeks. And until then, we'll talk to you later. Bye.